Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Yellowbird Hotline podcast, the podcast where your favorite hot sauce company answers all the most important food questions, and we're totally qualified to do that, and we know that. We have certifications proving that qualification.
And those certifications are laminated.
Laminated.
So you know they're legit.
Yeah, but they're just slightly too big to fit in our wallet, which is inconvenient. You can call us and ask us your own questions or give us answers to questions that we've put on podcasts in the past by calling or texting 855-700-BIRD. That's 855-700-BIRD. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
Morning.
Great.
Oh, we're good. Oh, we're good.
I'm feeling alive.
We're ready to talk about snacks.
Oh,
I was just thinking, I was thinking about our phone number. It's still so cool that we have a custom number. I really feel like that was a good call.
Great job.
Was that a joke? That was a joke, right?
No.
A good call?
It was,
okay. I like it. It worked.
It was slow.
Kelsey.
It was slow. Everyone's still
Okay.
asleep, and that's okay.
Slow burn, yeah.
It was either Kelsey or Aaron. Which one of y'all got 855-700-BIRD? It wasn't me.
That was a process, remember?
It was.
like
yeah.
I found the perfect number, and then when I went to get it, the system
took
that
it.
was
The system was down.
the system that was like supposed to be able to get it for me said that it was taken, even though I just added it to my cart. It was like, it's not available anymore, even though I just got it. Anyway, that happened
Drama.
3 or 4 times with 3 or 4 great numbers. And so I just had to move to a different
Do you
platform.
remember some of the numbers that we lost?
They were good numbers. They were like better than what we. No, you know what? We have the best.
Hey, we can't live in the past, George.
They were better than what we ended up
They were
with.
better than what.
I
no,
think it's-
never mind.
I
Yeah.
think about how cool that is for sure, but I also think about how like my brain is so dumb. Like it is so hard for me to spell out BIRD correctly every time. Yeah, it's 855-700-BIRD.
Well, I have it written down in front of me, and I say it wrong almost every week. So.
Oh, I remember the one that we were going to get. It had Hotline.
Wasn't it Hotline?
In the actual
Oh, it
number.
was so
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sad about it.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't be
me
sad.
too.
We got Bird. We got
Yeah.
Bird.
Which is
Bird.
2473. I write the
Yes.
captions each time, so I have that.
On that.
In case you've been struggling to find your numbers on your keypad.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna start saying the 2473.
Yeah.
No, BIRD.
I mean, because
Bird.
Griffey,
BIRD rhymes with 2473. I know.
Oh my.
Griffey's number was 24. Who wore 73? I don't know.
What are we talking about now? You talking about sports ball?
Sports?
Oh,
sorry,
baseball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball is my favorite sport.
Does it mean anything if your number is higher or lower? Do you?
Yes.
In football.
Aren't you
it can,
better if you're lower?
No,
Did I
you
know
want to
that?
be 100.
Okay.
100.
Yeah, because then you can fit 3 on the back. Nobody
Yeah.
else has that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be
It's
me.
special.
Malik
100.
Smith used to wear 0, which I'm like, that's a funny number.
You don't want to be
Like double zero or just zero?
Just 10, yeah.
10 is 10.
So angry.
angry
This
right now.
is starting
laughing.
out.
This is my angry laugh.
We're doing
He's
a sports
strong
pod-
today.
We're doing a sports codcast.
Whoa.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Codcast.
Yeah, a
Codcast.
codcast. Well, hey, we got a great question today. I think Aaron is coming in hot with our question today.
Am I starting with this one?
Yeah. No, you're gonna ask the question.
Kick it off.
It's your
Okay.
question today.
It's your question.
You ready for that?
Is it my question?
It's your question.
Doesn't remember it being her
Okay.
question.
What is your favorite discontinued or forgotten childhood snack you wish would come back? What is a childhood snack you enjoyed that sounds gross now?
Okay.
Hard hitting.
Hard-hitting question.
Am I picking who starts?
No, I've got the randomizer.
I feel like every time George randomizes, he goes last.
He likes to build.
Do you
the
use
moment.
your watch from the 90s to randomize?
Yeah, you guys synchronize it.
I don't. Daniel's gonna go first today.
Your Casio?
Oh man, I'm probably the worst at this because, again, I think we've covered this before. I eat trash and I love it. I'm basically a raccoon.
All of these are gonna probably be
better eye
trash.
Do you
makeup.
dumpster dive for food? I think that would be really
I have.
eco-friendly of you.
I was
Really
there. I
frugal
watched
of you.
them.
Yeah, dude. Don't think I haven't made like dumpster divin, guacamole.
And pizza, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if
Nachos.
I have done that with donuts because they actually throw away really perfectly good donuts
And
into
bagels.
a huge trash can.
Yeah.
there was an episode of Scrubs one time when they were talking about like there's a hierarchy of things that you do and don't pull out of the trash.
Yeah.
And one of them was like if you see a meatball sub in the trash, you absolutely pull that out. I'm
Absolutely,
like,
it's totally
yes,
fine.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I was like, man, I am not at all qualified working for a natural food company. But as far as like forgotten or discontinued snacks, I did a little bit of research on this, and I realized that anything that I thought was discontinued still exists. Man, like
Yeah,
That was
like,
my takeaway. I was like,
That
these things
same.
all still exist.
well, and here's the thing. Yeah, spoiler, they all exist in different countries. Like if you can't find them in the US, then they exist somewhere else in the world, right? Like I was looking for Dunkaroos. Man, what a wonderful, it's a graham cracker that you dip in icing. It's just Duncan Hines icing that you dip, an animal cracker in. And
It's a
man,
kangaroo.
it was good. And it is, yeah.
Put some respect on it.
Just the kangaroos. And I was like, man, I ain't seen a Dunkaroo forever. And then we were in St. Louis a couple weeks ago for a trade show, and Dunkaroos had a booth. They're
They're still Dunkin'.
Yeah. Daniel took some.
I walked away with some.
And he said, I'm going to bring these home to Marshall. And then he goes, psych, I'm going to eat them myself.
I'm gonna eat them myself. I ate them as we walked back to the apartment. I was
Tears in your eyes, just remembering when you were young and innocent.
so there's a million of them, man. Like whether it's like Gushers or Dunkaroos, or like those are the ones that I don't think they don't exist, but legitimately Dunkaroos were the one that I went through a phase for sure where like we had conned my mom into buying those for us, and I ate those like crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You had to con her into buying those for you? Just
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
no.
Dude, yeah, it was one of those like, I'll iron shirts, Mom. I'll do it. Whatever.
What's it gonna take?
Wow.
Do whatever it takes.
It sounds
clean
like
out the
she
cat
conned
box.
you.
I'll clean out the
into
cat box with how
ironing
having
shirts.
to be at. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But yeah, I think that that was kind of my takeaway was that like there is no such thing as discontinued kid food. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong later. But as far as like things that I loved to eat when I was a kid that I would now think are kind of nasty, we used to take like just flour tortillas and like put some cream cheese on them and then roll those up and eat that as a snack. Yeah,
I would
that's
do
the phase,
that.
Katie. And
Would you fry it at least? Like, would it be warm or
That would,
would
be,
you, like,
that would make it like
this-
gourmet.
This was basically like what's a snack that I can make with what's handy during a commercial break,
okay,
and
that
then run
doesn't
back to
require
watch
mom's help.
cartoons and stuff.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's Saturday
Commercial
morning,
break.
right? Yeah, exactly. It's Saturday morning. I know there's a commercial break. I'm gonna run to the kitchen. All right, like Mission brand flour tortilla, Philadelphia cream cheese, blah 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 blah. Run back. I loved that.
I like that we name so many food brands on this podcast. Like we are fishing for sponsorship here.
Yeah, and we haven't said Yellowbird sauce.
We've
one
said
time.
Yellowbird very well. I mean, none of us had Yellowbird as kids, I don't think.
Interesting.
But
I know there's
Dunkaroos,
some breakfast.
Give it
Dunkaroos
about
would
20
be-
years and people will be saying the same thing.
Dunkaroos
about
would be
us.
your like that's your go-to number one kid snack.
Yeah, forgotten kid snack. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like Dunkers had a whole like comeback campaign recently.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they were all
think they
over the
did.
internet, and I think it was successful. Nostalgia is.
We're talking about them, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, do you feel like eating it when you had your most recent Dunkaroos re-experience? Did it live up to the hype? Did you feel like it was overrated, underrated, properly rated?
I feel like there's nostalgia and shame are really powerful emotions. As I was eating it, I was like, man, this is gross. And then as I finished, I was like, man, I wish I had more. So
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but that was the emotional journey I was on.
Can we get Brene Brown on the horn?
I was
for the
going to
next
say,
one?
Brene Brown needs to show up for this food shaming podcast
Dude,
that we're
this is
planning.
my very
Yeah.
unhappiness project right now.
Dream hotline guest is Brene
Yeah,
Brown.
hey, Gretchen Rubin, call me.
Well, okay. Now the second part of the question was, what is one childhood snack that you think is gross now?
Yeah, tortilla with cream cheese was that one.
That was, oh, I'm sorry. I was spacing out.
George was like, "That sounds really good." I don't know what you're,
Does
you know.
sound really good. I thought you were naming more stuff that sounded good.
Oh.
I'm gonna edit out the part where I didn't know what was going on.
I like keeping it raw and real.
You can keep it raw and real.
Mhm.
It's easier for me to edit if we just keep it raw and real.
Mhm. And room temperature.
Room temperature.
Who's next? Who's on the random?
I'm next.
Get out of town.
Right.
I won't get out of town. I won't
Yeah,
get out
no
of
podcast
one
town.
is
can
for the
steal your
boys.
ideas.
Nobody can
George.
steal my ideas. So my favorite childhood snack, which I thought was discontinued until I did an internet search on it last night and found out that they have it at Central Market right down the road from me.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What is it?
It's a soda called Cheerwine. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Nope.
No.
That's a
one.
very Midwest thing, right?
No, it's a Southern thing. It's like a deep South
Okay.
soda, and
Okay.
Cheerwine is essentially it's essentially cherry soda. It's cherry Coke. Like the original flavor is cherry.
Mhm.
So like when you get their original, it's cherry already. And I think that was the thing that I loved about it was that like, but like I also have memories attached to that where like I only ever had Cheerwine at my friend Josh's house, and his parents had more money than mine did. So like I would go over to his house and he had like Nintendo, and they had like a billiards room at their house. But like I'd go over to his house on like the weekend and we'd go to we're too little to play billiards.
I go to his house and learn what living really was.
Your wine would flow.
But like yeah, we would play Super Mario Brothers 2 on Nintendo, and it was always that one for some reason. That was our favorite one.
Mhm.
And we'd drink Cheerwine, and it was just part of that experience.
Out of wine glasses.
Yeah, we would pour it into like glasses.
But
and
it's bubbly like soda.
it is soda. Yeah,
Okay.
it's essentially like cherry.
But why
Coke.
is it called wine?
I don't know, but that's part of that was part of the appeal for me as a kid. Is I felt like I was an adult. I felt like I was doing a celebratory adult thing, and it was always it was not like a daily snack that I had. It was not like my parents kept Cheerwine around, and I wouldn't have wanted them to because it was special. It was like
You
part of that experience.
Crack
seri-
one open
serious
during a
question.
commercial break.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So when you're playing
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 2,
Yeah.
which was the first Super Mario Brothers where you could pick your own character,
Yeah.
who was the character that you chose and why?
Oh,
That's a good question.
It's for the next podcast.
I think that I would usually get Luigi, and I think I would get Luigi because
You knew you were gonna look
because
like
I
him.
wanted Mario, but it wasn't my house.
Wasn't home turf.
And it
Home turf
wasn't
always gets Mario.
it wasn't my Cheerwine. So
There you
Yeah.
go.
I
You
traded.
didn't want to cause a ruckus.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
traded. I liked playing Toad sometimes too.
Well,
I never
you're
wanted to
wearing
play the
green
prin- I never wanted to play the princess because like when you're a young boy, you get
Yeah, I
sensitive
always
stuff
wanted to
like
play
that.
Princess.
See,
Yeah.
I
That was
wanted to
my
play
character.
Princess too, even though I caught flack from my cousins, but it was totally utilitarian.
She
She
could
could jump
float.
further.
Yeah.
She could jump further.
And when you guys say princess, are you talking about Princess Peach?
Yeah, Princess
Yes.
Peach was a playable
Okay.
character in Mario Brothers 2, which started out, it was originally supposed to be like a different video game franchise, and then it got bought by the Mario franchise, and they just overlaid the characters on some other weird Japanese video game. Which is why it has nothing to do with.
It was going to be
Yeah.
Metroid, and then
Yeah.
it turned into.
I
Yeah.
love that I know you did like research about the snacks for this episode, but that
Yeah.
Mario knowledge is just right off the noggin.
yeah.
That was fresh and ready. You did not,
Ready with
did
that.
not have
That
to
was
Google
quality.
But yeah, so Cheerwine is my delicious one, and I don't think that I would be into it now. I would actually kind of like to buy some. I'm gonna go down to Central Market and buy some and mix it with liquor. That's what I want to do. I'd like to have some Cheerwine.
No.
with, like,
Real wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna
What was
you're gonna be the fun house now.
Exactly.
Right.
And then my one that I thought was that like is gross, and I looked this one up just to look at pictures of it and see if I still felt the same way, and I do. It was like physically revolting to me. But when we were young, both of my parents worked, and my mom worked like 12 14 hours a day. She worked a lot, and she also did a lot of, like, she was trying to take us to school and do all this stuff. And we would I wouldn't say we ate a ton of fast food when I was a kid, but we made a habit of hitting that McDonald's drive-through on the way to school, because that was like the only way that we would have time for breakfast. And so I really loved the McDonald's cinnamon bun, like the cinnamon roll that they've got.
Ooh.
It's got all the icing on it. And my mom let me get it as a kid. She let me get that and call it breakfast. And to be fair, it's probably doesn't have any more or less sugar than, like a bowl of kids cereal or something. But I would get that like hot, like it's so sugary, and it looks exactly the same as it did, when I was a kid. I looked it up, like still on the menu at McDonald's. Looks exactly the same.
I didn't know they had a cinnamon roll. This
Yeah.
is news
Oh
to me.
yeah,
I used to eat it like
breakfast in Texas. You have to have a cinnamon roll.
But I
Yeah.
went through a phase where I was getting a cinnamon roll like every day, and we would go to
Wow.
but because both of my folks had to be at work, we had to be at school like real early. We did that thing where like, hey, if both your parents work, you drop the kid off at like 6:30 in the morning, and they just kind of sit around in the gymnasium until school starts, right?
Mhm.
So like we would go sit, we'd go sit in the like whatever, the gym or gymnatorium or whatever it was, but until school started. And I had been like eating one of these cinnamon rolls like every day for a while. And we got there at the early school thing, and I walked in and I was like, my stomach doesn't feel good. And then I just projectile vomited
Oh.
over the gymnatorium.
No.
I mean, not to gross y'all out, but just cinnamon roll
No.
everywhere.
Projectile
And-
vomit always likes to make its way into at least one
Yes.
podcast
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We do like
per 2
Yeah.
weeks.
So you got that from McDonald's. I
Yeah.
had the same situation from Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, it
That
wasn't
was-
food. It wasn't food poisoning. I don't, because I was fine. Like it was one of those where like I threw up like 3 times all in a row, and I was fine. I didn't have any like lingering symptoms. It was just something my body. I just think that like my
You
body
reached
was
your
just,
limit.
I reached my
Your body
limit. Like,
rejected the cinnamon roll
I had as
the
many
last time.
I had as many McDonald's cinnamon rolls as I could have had in my life, and that morning I had one more than
Your
Too
body
many.
rejected it. They said
It rejected it.
And
And
cut
so,
you
like,
off.
And so like I just think about like that food just makes me nauseous, because I just immediately remember. And I mean, that was, how old am I now? That was a lot of years ago. It was like almost 30 years ago, and I still have that.
Can you eat other cinnamon rolls? Is it only McDonald's cinnamon rolls, or do all cinnamon rolls?
So I think about it if I eat another cinnamon roll, but I honestly, like when I was a kid, I was kind of like a sugar fiend. Like I really liked sweets, and that didn't carry over into adulthood. And I think part of it was just like it made me feel really bad on a number of occasions. And so like I don't eat a lot of sweets now, which you guys have all traveled with me, so you know that I'm kind of like, I'm not interested in that. But
This reminds me of that Shel Silverstein poem. If I have another piece of pie, I'll die. If I don't have another piece of pie, I'll die. So since it's all decided that I'm going to die, I might as well have another piece of pie.
There you go.
it was a beautiful
Beautiful.
reading.
Thank you.
Well,
Shel
those are my 2
Silverstein.
foods. Let's see who we got next. Kelsey is up next.
Oh, which one should I do first?
Do the one that your
Discontinued
favorite-
one.
Yeah, favorite discontinued.
Okay,
or
Favorite
forgotten.
discontinued.
I,
yeah.
I don't know at what point in my childhood this was. It could have been elementary. I want to say it was like elementary into middle, but I should look up the actual year. But I don't know if you guys remember that obviously when you're in school and you have like mints or gum in your backpack, it's like a minefield, right? If you bust those out too early, everybody wants one. And so there was always kids that would have like different flavors. We've talked about why you get cinnamon gum so nobody else can have some, because it's very
Mhm.
polarizing.
Yep.
But one of my favorite things, which I guess they weren't considered mints, but they were Altoids, was those sour Altoids. Do you guys remember
Ooh.
those?
Well,
No.
because they were
Sour
they were like little pearls. They weren't like the little
Yes,
flat discs.
I have a
They were like-
photo. So, sorry, but they're orange. This was the mango sours.
Yep.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I do.
And they
do
came
remember
in like a
those.
little pressed tin. They were like hard to get in. Apparently they had a tangerine too, but I
Yeah.
only remember citrus, but I only remember the mango. I guess that was just really popular in my area.
Yeah,
But
those
I
were just
remember,
candy.
yeah,
They
and
were
it was
not
just
mints.
candy. But I feel like it was kind of like teachers would get mad if you had candy, but you were like, oh, it's a mint.
It's
You would,
an
like get away
Altoid.
with it. It's an Altoid, and I loved regular Altoids. mostly because of the showmanship. I loved popping that little thing open, getting the little paper. I still love an Altoid. But yeah, the Altoid sours were like very, very exciting. And it was like a grown-up Warhead, if you guys remember Warheads.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Around.
I
Yeah.
loved Warheads.
feel
And I
like
don't
my
know that I
mouth
ever
is
liked.
watering.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever like loved an Altoid sour, but it was like an acquired taste. And I feel like after a while at school, it was just like, yeah, it was like Pavlov. Like you'd hear someone's tin and you'd be like, I need to get me one of them sours. And I'm so sad they're not around anymore.
feel
Well, I
like the
love
sours
that you
are-
associated a noise with that too. Like,
Yeah,
that's-
just the ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
yeah.
those things were delicious. I'm on board with that. But like those and like the orange Tic Tacs are just
Yes.
yeah. I love the
Absolutely
orange
not
Tic Tacs
mints.
It's
so
But,
much.
candy.
but you
Yeah.
can get away with it.
So
yeah.
much.
But it was
But
in the
mints
mint
are-
aisle.
Mints are candy, right? Can we all agree that mints are candy?
Depends on the mint. I
In
think.
my head, they're not.
Yeah, they're functional. They're functional.
As
candy.
much as
Functional
they could
candy.
have sugar in there, I'm like, it's a mint. It doesn't count. Ask your dentist. They'll tell you not to have them.
Well, I feel like the Altoids, because I loved Altoids when I was a kid too, and that was actually a consideration of mine because I also really loved how grown up of a feeling that was. To, like,
Yes.
like the metal tin. I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but I loved stuff when I was a kid that made me feel like I was an adult. I think that's probably universal with kids. I feel
Is that
like
why you
Altoids-
smoked a pipe?
That is why
And
I
wore a
smoked-
monocle.
I mean, I think that's why like bubble pipes are popular. When
Yeah.
I was a little kid, I had like a shaving kit that was
Candy
just, like-
cigarettes.
yeah, all of the things that are like, hey, this is a faux version of what it's like to be an adult. I feel like the Altoid with the like the metal box and like the paper that kind of makes you feel like
Yeah.
it just feels like an adult.
Well, I can remember like carrying a purse when I was, like 12 to 16, like before I ever needed car keys. And it's like, what am I going to put in there? Like my mom's dropping me off at Deerbrook
Your
Mall to see a
Altoids.
movie. And I'm like, I've got to have my Altoids. I had some, Wet n Wild lip gloss in there.
Oh,
some
yeah.
big thing of Altoids and probably like, a pen because it was a small purse. I couldn't fit a lot. I didn't need a lot, traveling light, but I had 24 Altoids on me at all times. So I think they would still be good now, but it's such a far beyond memory because I remember they had sugar like on the outside anyway.
Felt like those
Mhm.
kind of like
Yeah.
burned your mouth in a
Oh,
way.
yeah.
When you ate 'em. Like
Like the sweet and sour snacks or the sour
Mhm.
patch kids. That reminds me of those.
Yeah. So that was big. I don't know that I would like them now, but I would like to, like if they brought them back, I'd be ready. I'd be
First
happy.
in line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we not get them? Can we not get them now? Are they done? Are they
They're
out?
discontinued. They're just
Oh,
Altoids has
man.
gone
I feel
like-
traditional mint.
I feel like that's one
Okay.
of those they would bring back, but it wouldn't be at grocery stores. It would only be available at like Barnes and Noble or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
A small drop at Barnes and Noble.
Well, when I looked up, I don't want to go back to my thing, but I'm gonna go back. Like when I looked up Cheerwine on their website, you go to their store locator, and it says available nationwide at World Market and Cracker Barrel. I was like,
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah,
Cracker
dude.
Barrel's
Yeah.
a good spot. That's
Yeah.
a collector spot.
Yeah.
I think Altoids branding too, because I always had curiously strong in quotation marks.
Mhm.
And like now I could see, like I would wear like an Altoids sweatsuit that said curiously strong. Like that's really strong branding. I don't think they're really taking advantage of that because I think it went hard for a mint, for an old people mint.
Yeah, you would get the swag that they dropped.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
clothing. Yeah, cool.
Where's
Like
my
those
face?
Altoid Birkenstocks.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably the age demographic. I probably should invest in a sensible sandal. That's thank you. But I've been missing.
SensibleSandals.com.
That's right.
Speaking of
I wonder if
sensible
that is taken.
sandables, what's your one that makes you grossed out? from your childhood
I
snack?
have kind of two. Like I have one that in theory it's gross and everyone else around me thought it was gross, but I would eat it again. And I think they make it again, but in college, still a child, Pringles had released a cheeseburger flavor and it
Oh.
was just called cheeseburger. And everyone was like, that sounds gross. And I was like, we should try this. It's a gamble. And I loved it. It had a weird, like there was definitely notes of meat in there. There were notes of ketchup, pickle, mustard. Everybody else was like, this is disgusting and it smells bad. And I was like, haha, it is. And then I ate like the whole can. Like I was a woman obsessed. It was something so weird. It reminded me of like
Pringles
Willy
are
Wonka.
addictive.
They
can't eat
are.
just
They're and
one.
you can do the little duck mouth. You got to eat
Yeah.
Oh, the
one.
duck mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was really into these cheeseburger Pringles. And then it just became a thing where everyone in my friend group in college would like make fun of me for it. So then I was like, it made me want them more. It worked on me. And then you couldn't find them anywhere. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, maybe it was a limited edition flavor. We're not going to get it back. Well, then there were reports that they had been recalled for salmonella. So
Dude,
I just
They
want to
use
say
raw meat to flavor the
within those
Pringles.
flavor notes. Yeah. I don't know how they made it. I don't want to know. That's an episode I
Oh.
don't want to go down, but
100%
I would eat them
chance
again.
those still exist, like in Serbia or something.
I think they
Right.
probably
Exactly.
they've released a lot of like limited edition Pringles, but I think because of, again, like you're saying, Daniel, the shame that I carried, because after the salmonella news came out, oh, you bet my friends held that over my head, so it was rough times for me. So I haven't picked up a cheeseburger Pringle. Really, I may have had a sour cream and onion in the past few years, but
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's
it's
just
been
hope-
a minute.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that flavor
Cheeseburger
stays in the vault.
I
Yeah.
don't think I ever had a cheeseburger Pringle. They did a limited edition Pickle Rick Pringle recently
Yeah.
from like Rick and Morty.
Of course
They
they
were
did.
they were good. They were
And
good.
I bought several of those with because I was making soap at home and I bought several of those with I'm gonna use this as a soap mold. And no, I just ate the Pringles. That's all I did.
But
Oh,
I
I
mean,
thought
have
you-
you ever had a Pringle that you didn't like though?
I never have.
I haven't.
No,
either.
I mean,
They
there's some I
formulate
like,
them to be
Yeah.
delicious.
there's some I like more than others, but they also fit like perfectly on the groove of your tongue, So it's
Ah.
They do.
They're really satisfying.
I love a Pringle,
Yeah.
but yeah, that. And then I will say, like, what I do find gross now, and I found out way too late in life, was growing up. I always wanted Lunchables, and my mom would like never buy them because she'd be like, no, they're more expensive. Like, she would buy stuff for me and my brother's lunches. We'd bring our lunches. We'd make actual sandwiches, but I was like, oh, all the cool kids have Lunchables. So she like never bought them for me. And very rarely like would I get to, experience one. But I remember I always wanted that pizza one because it looked so good. And I had that like much later than you should have a pizza Lunchable. Like there's probably like a field trip, like years later, I finally convinced her that I was going to get a Lunchable. And y'all, that pizza Lunchable was absolutely terrible.
Of course it
Crust
was.
was cardboard. The
Ugh.
sauce, it was cold.
Yeah.
But in my head, like it just looked so gourmet. I used to watch this girl who would sit across from me at lunch, and she would like, it was a whole
It's
to do.
interactive. Yeah. You build
Would
it
you say
yourself.
you got
Packaging.
influenced? Would you say
I
you got
was
influenced
so
by her?
influenced. Oh my gosh, this girl
Man.
named Chelsea, which again,
Wait a second.
assists with my name. And it was like the cardboard crust, and then they put the sauce on it, and then you get the little spreader. I mean,
Cardboard crust.
it was like you were a chef at lunch, and I was so jealous of that status symbol because I just had to take a sandwich out of a Ziploc. But
Well, and it's just a
Mom
mess
was
too, because
right.
because they give you shredded cheese that you can't melt, so it's just like
Oh,
shredded
no.
cheese falling off the side of it.
And I
man.
think the cheese is also just, wood shavings.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably.
mozzarella product. Yeah, it's
He's
not.
doing air quotes for all our
Yeah.
audio. Big air quote energy. Mozzarella. cheese product.
It just
And a
it
Lunchable
really
does
shook
sound-
me.
A Lunchable does sound gross. Like no.
It shook me to my core because for years I'd been like, that looks amazing. Those little pepperonis. And it's just like everything was so organized. Like that was before people had like bento boxes and Pinterest of recipes. That was the original. Like,
But man, I'm just saying, like, look at how big charcuterie is right now.
yes.
And it would not have been a thing with our generation had it not been.
They
for
kicked it
Lunchables,
off.
man.
Yeah.
The Lunchable kicked
Yeah,
off
well,
the.
the
I do
Lunchables
think the
are
great.
cracker stackers, by the way, I do think the cracker stackers are the best of the Lunchables. Those I actually did live up to the hype when I had those years after I was supposed to. I was probably at least 11 at that point.
Ooh,
The Lunchable
really,
bubble burst.
really
Do you guys remember handy
experienced.
snacks?
What were
George,
were
we
those
haven't
the-
gotten through the whole, list of people
Oh,
yet.
oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
let's
yeah.
just calm
But
down.
Hold on,
Lunchables just made me think of handy snacks because it was another one of those
Okay,
peel off a thing and
still got
Somebody
two more
might
people to
be
go.
talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Okay.
thank you for letting me ramble. But yeah, I just want to say, pizza Lunchables, you know what you did, and we should cancel them.
Canceled.
Canceled.
Hey,
Yeah.
we have the
Canceled.
power on this
They
podcast.
are canceled.
We have 8 million listeners.
Yeah,
Whoa.
exactly. Cracker
we're-
stackers, you're all right. You can stay.
Stay, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Pizza. Mm-mm.
Ugh.
away.
Next in line, let's go to Katie Redez
Ooh.
and get that favorite discontinued or forgotten childhood
Well,
snack.
Yeah, I don't know if it was discontinued, but Eggo Waffles used to make mini waffles, but they weren't just the mini ones. They
There was
were
the
like
4
this.
of them.
Yeah, and there was like the cinnamon ones. Did you guys ever have the cinnamon ones?
Yes.
Those
I
were
loved
just like
those.
my absolute favorite childhood breakfast snack, anything. I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, I'd eat it whenever. They were just so good. I don't know if they still make them. They might still make them.
Was that the ones that came like all four,
Yep.
and you toasted the whole thing and then you tore them apart?
Yeah.
They
That
still
was
make the-
genius.
And then you put peanut butter in between and made little like Eggo sliders.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
the
so
options
great.
were endless.
I
I
feel
just
like I
looked it up
probably
on Instacart. They've got Eggo mini cinnamon toast. waffles.
Oh, cinnamon toast.
Cinnamon toast.
So yeah.
That must be like OG cinnamon, but
Oh, I don't know if it was called cinnamon.
They've
Maybe
got
it
little
was.
googly eyes on them on the package. I guess they don't come out like that.
Holy eyes.
Maybe. I also really liked those. Do you guys remember the Kool-Aid? There was just like a plastic bottle and then it had like a little twist.
Yes.
The Kool-Aid jammer,
Really
was that what it was
loved-
called?
It was a blue one. That's all I
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
And
Is
I
that
would
like a
get-
squeeze it? Is it like Kool-Aid's
It was
version of a
close to
Squeeze It?
Squeeze Its, but it was the Kool-Aid brand.
and it like the top just had like a little tiny hole and it was just so satisfying to like break it open and drink it after, a long hard soccer game that I didn't work for. So
I always love like twisting off that cap and then putting the cap on my finger because it looked like a little pharaoh hat. I'm like, anyway.
I feel like I feel
Multi-purpose.
like the cap was like that was always a big part of like lunchtime fun was they'd like somebody had bugles, somebody had the cap. It was a whole
Mhm.
theater production.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember those Kool-Aid things like in like a cooler.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and you could squeeze them. They were so satisfying.
Y'all, they
I
fed
know.
us trash. as kids.
And,
Straight
we
up
ate a lot of
Luda.
trash
garbage.
growing up. Yeah. Yeah.
Wash down your
Yeah.
pizza Lunchable with a
Sounds
great
great.
squeeze.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I was a Capri Sun gal, but
Ooh,
you
Sunny
know.
D.
Dude, they make they make Lunchables with a Capri Sun in it already.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's a
We're not going
collab.
back to Lunchables.
Yeah, I'm just
That
saying.
bridge is burned. A tiny spoon is broken.
Yeah.
I loved a Capri Sun.
Kelsey, honestly, the thing that grossed me out would have been Lunchables, but I didn't even eat them because they grossed me out even as a kid. So
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't put that on my list.
I'm glad I
But-
could resurrect that gross memory for you.
Katie's over here like showing her privilege. Like, I never ate bologna. Okay, great.
Either. I wasn't allowed to.
Must
My
have
mom was
been
like,
nice.
no.
You got to make
was
sure you
such-
peel that little red thing off. Don't eat it.
Wait,
Don't
what?
eat it.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Uh-oh.
Of the cheese. You remember Kelsey still
Baby
likes
Bell cheese.
those. Yeah, Kelsey loves those.
Still eat
Yes.
Baby Bell.
I ate all the rings on my bologna. We're not supposed to do that.
You guys, I've never had bologna, not once in my life. I was such a picky eater as a kid. I like. to
It must
this
have been
day.
nice going to private school.
It was always a mystery when I was little why there was a red plastic around the bologna though. I never understood why they did
So it
that.
doesn't fall apart and look like cat
But-
food.
Yeah, I mean, I get it now, but when I was little, I was like, why is this here? Ew.
Aesthetics.
Okay, my food that I did eat, or I should say drink, I don't know. Do you guys remember Danimals yogurt?
Oh, yes.
Yogurt?
Yes.
I really wanted to like it as a kid. I would try and drink it, but I'd always leave it like half full. And then my mom was like, I'm not going to buy them anymore for you because you never finished them. And I'm like, no, but I want them. I like them. But then I
Wait,
didn't actually like
It
them.
was yogurt that you drank.
They weren't that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Looking back, I'm like, ew, it's probably just like watered down yogurt, just shaken with some sugar and.
But they had like
Fine.
animals on the packaging. So it was another aesthetic purchase.
The
Right.
Was it by
packaging
Dannon?
could
They're-
tell you.
they're
Yeah, it was like
selling
a
the
polar bear.
Selling to
Yeah.
the kids. Selling
Was
to
it
the
by
kids.
Dannon?
Yeah.
Is it like
Yeah,
Danimals?
Danimals. It was a pun
Danimals.
in the wild. It was a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Huh. That's one that I totally missed. I don't even know if I've heard of Danimals.
Well,
Now,
and
how
they-
did you feel
Anything,
about
though.
Go-Gurt though?
They still exist. Yeah. Like as a parent of a child who does not like squeezable yogurt, I have definitely like it comes like they get them handed to them in lunches or like in meal
Mhm.
packets or whatever. And like I've been on airplanes and my guy's like, hey, I don't want this. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll finish it. So there's not like an open, squeezable yogurt just hanging out in your lap. And I can confirm, Katie, that having eaten like a dozen of these as an adult, they nasty.
Yeah, they're
They're not good.
Is it
Now
like
I eat my gourmet farmer's market Greek
a
yogurt.
fantastic source of calcium. Let's be clear. My bones are the strongest.
But contrary to what the dairy industry would have you believe, there's calcium everywhere. There's calcium everywhere.
There's calcium in carrots. Get it?
Yeah. So is it like kefir? How do you say that? Kefir?
Kefir. Kefir. I don't know. I'm just making.
I wonder if that's what Danimals was.
But it's like, the first type.
No.
I think it's a different
Danimals
process.
was watered down yogurt.
Kefir is like
Animal
highly
container.
fermented. Lactose is basically not present in kefir yogurt.
Yeah.
By people.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was not health. This was
No.
strictly animals
No.
and sugar.
Lots of sugar.
I want to know
But
more
it was
about
great.
kefir yogurt.
It was great
Creamy
aesthetically.
animals and sugar.
But I do remember, because like the thing with the drinkable yogurts is like you're committing to a lot of yogurt and it's not a spoon, it's a drink, and your hand is like warming the yogurt container. And
Ugh.
if you're not shotgunning that yogurt, it's gonna get warm. You gotta shake it first.
I'm not about drinkable yogurt. I did try
I didn't know
kefir
if it
for a
was
little
still
bit.
around.
It is.
it's- oh,
It's definitely alive.
It's back
and
stronger than
well.
ever.
Yeah.
It's alive and well.
Yeah, we can hit that store locator page
I want to know more.
Animals.
It's every store. They're everywhere.
nationwide at Kmart.
I think
and
they
Cracker Barrel.
did solve that problem though with the Go-Gurts and the tube, because you kind of have to eat that fast.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah, you do.
it's like this tube that's just
It's like one of those things outside of a car dealership.
Well,
Like,
and that's
a
the
Go-Gurt.
hazard, right? Like you'll be in the car and your kid opens up the Go-Gurt and like takes one sip and goes, oh, no, I don't like that, and they just drop it and it spills everywhere.
yes.
So it's like a biohazard risk when they open it. They're like, okay, like you're watching it really, really closely. They're like, oh man, this could go really sour really fast. So you're like ready to catch it if they don't like it.
I have a hard time, like as an adult who's got, who has to do the food handler's license every year and think about like cross contamination. I have a hard time now with like ready to eat food products where you have to like put your mouth all over the package. Like
Ew.
Go-Gurt, you put your mouth all over the outside of
On the
that
plastic.
package.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
It's really gross. It's really. I remember thinking that when I first tried, when I was like, "Am I just?" The same goes with the
sound
ice
effect.
pops. What are they called?
Ice
The
Otter
popsicles
Pops?
in a tube. What?
Oh,
Otter?
Freezy Pops or Otter
Otter
Pops?
Pops.
Otter
Yeah.
Pops.
That's the same thing.
It's
your
not Otter
mouth all over
Pops. No, there's another word for it. That
Push Pops?
No.
I loved a push pop.
I did like push
I would still eat a push pop.
Yeah. A dreamsicle push
This
pop.
is just
Yeah.
making me hungry, you guys.
Honestly,
Yeah.
this
Hungry and
podcast has
nostalgic.
made me a bit
But
nauseous.
to
if
but
anything.
to be clear, a meatball sub in the trash still has the paper around it, so it's totally fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
It does have the paper around it. So last, but certainly not least, the asker of the question herself, Erin.
Well, this was I mean, we've gone through a lot of food, right? We ate a lot of junk in the 90s, 80s, 90s. And I mean, it was really hard for me to choose. But my favorite it's not discontinued, but I loved it for breakfast. But I haven't heard anyone talk about it like in the past decade at least. And it was the Jimmy Dean sausage and pancake on a stick.
On a stick.
Honestly,
I remember that.
heard of it.
Yeah,
You dip it in syrup,
yeah,
maple
yeah, I
syrup,
remember those.
and it is like the
It was
most
like a corn
heavenly
dog for
thing.
It was like a
breakfast.
breakfast corn dog.
It was a
Yeah.
breakfast corn dog, and it was the most amazing thing in the world for me.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That was when, like, I knew when my mom got those, I was like, oh, score.
What a callback.
Yeah. I mean,
those are
I-
still around. I had a
They're
friend in
definitely
college.
still around.
I
Yeah.
had a friend in
definitely-
college who bought one. She bought a package and she was trying to open one with a knife and she like severely cut her hand and
Oh.
had to go to the hospital. And
Oh,
she's like,
geez.
all for
That story took a turn that I wasn't
Jimmy
expecting.
sausage
Gosh, it's all
pancake
over
corn
again.
dog.
It's that good, y'all.
It's that good. She was like, I
Would
gotta
go
get
to
in
the
there.
hospital for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a luxury.
Yeah. Well, when you first started talking about it, I was like, dude, I haven't had a Jimmy Dean's sausage meal in a long time. But in St. Louis, that
Jimmy
same
Dean's.
trip as the
You had Jimmy Dean's?
as the Dunkaroo. Yeah, I grabbed
Right, you
I grabbed
did.
a Jimmy Dean biscuit for breakfast one morning. We went to the grocery
Stuck
store. I was
it
like,
in the
yeah,
microwave.
you know, maybe this is good. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I haven't had one in way too long, since I was a child in elementary
Since it was
school.
on a stick.
Since it was on a stick. Still on a stick.
Did those come with like a little donkey thing of syrup?
No.
No.
Not that I remember. Not like
Because they were in the freezer
strudel.
section, so you had to
Okay.
buy the
Right.
syrup separately.
Yeah.
Not like
That's
the strudel. What are they called? The
Oh,
streusel?
toaster
Toaster
strudel.
strudels,
Oh,
where you
man.
would get the icing
Yes.
packet with it, which I also love. But those are still
Yeah.
totally. I feel like those are still kind of like pretty cool.
I feel
right?
like another
I
opportunity.
have them in
for-
my freezer right now.
another opportunity
See.
like Lunchables for a kid to like feel like a chef is like you put that little stuff and you're like, yes, let me put this icing on here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I loved.
Dude,
No.
I have
Yes,
firsthand
please, quiet,
experience with
mother.
that.
I am preparing breakfast right now.
Like strudel. Yeah.
And then snack that I that I think is disgusting, that should not exist, should never have existed, was we were talking about the snackables, Lunchables, the ones that were like the mini ones that were the breadsticks and cheese, because the commercial made it look like that cheese was very creamy and like moved. But in reality, you get the breadstick, you dip it in, and it breaks because the cheese doesn't move. Not only that, it tastes disgusting. Like
Yeah.
the worst. Anyway.
It's
That
like
was Handy
Velveeta
Snacks. That's the one I
cheese.
was-
The Handy Snacks, man. Yeah. Or Handy Snacks had that chintzy little like red stick. You would like swing it on the crackers.
Oh yeah, I remember that red stick. What was that thing?
It was the knife
It
to
was a
spread the
tool,
cheese.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
your tool for
You can't
cheese
give a
spreading.
kid a knife.
What's cool though, there is a
Red
company
stick.
You
again,
can't give kids knives.
just to
No.
like put a little bit of respect on this. There's a company out of like South Carolina called what are they? Oh, sorry, North Carolina called Red Clay Pimento. And they do a version of a Handy Snacks now. It's like, 6 crackers and like a tub of pimento that you just rip open and smear with like a little red stick. And that stuff's good, man.
Does
It's
it
like
does
the
it actually
actual-
move? But
What-
like the cheese actually moves?
Yeah, I mean, it's a product that actually requires refrigeration.
Yeah, it's in the refrigerated section, I was going to say.
Whereas
Okay.
like Handy Snacks were just Velveeta.
No,
You
we
know?
ran across them at a show. I remember, and I'm a pimento cheese fiend, so I was with Daniel in that obsession.
I love
it was
pimento
delicious.
cheese. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I feel like that's a good market, like you're saying, like for like kid style snacks, but for adults,
Reinvented,
nostalgia.
made
Yeah,
gourmet,
reinvented.
and made
Refrigerated.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
actual shredded cheese instead of mozzarella product and Velveeta.
Maybe if we got out our mini, what is it, easy bake ovens?
Oh my god, I loved my
Yeah,
Itsy
Cooking with a light
And
bulb.
make our own
Just a
pizza.
light bulb, that's all it
made
is.
so many teeny tiny little burnt cakes in that easy bake oven.
Somebody
So
said that
bad.
was the original air fryer, and it really tickled me. It's like we had it going on.
We never had an easy bake oven. I never really wanted an easy bake, but there was like another version of it where you could like make little like jelly creatures, like the creepy crawlers.
Creepy crawlers. We had that too.
Creepy crawlers, yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
That was
never
it.
had those.
Creepy crawlers.
There it
this
is.
That's how it goes.
Maybe the next episode is about commercial jingles.
Well,
I
I
would
think the
love
next
that.
episode is going to be. I think the only person who hasn't done a question yet is Katie, right?
Ooh,
So-
Just thinking.
I have-
put your thinking cap on.
Oh no.
do y'all
Okay.
do y'all remember though fruit roll-ups that were with cutouts?
Yep.
And they
Oh,
never tore the
yeah.
way you wanted to because you had to pull them so hard. They always got
Yeah.
warped.
They didn't get perforated as well as they needed to be.
That was
but-
another thing, like you're saying, George, like a product that you're manhandling before you.
Oh
eat
god,
it.
yeah. Just
Oh.
and then you'd always get your. I mean, that was like a friend activity. If somebody whipped one of those out at the
Yeah.
lunch table,
You want my
everybody-
dinosaur?
Yeah, well, everybody was trying to like, oh, I can't poke it out. You try it, Jimmy. Like everybody was trying to like get the thing out.
Yeah.
I
And then you
shared my
s-
fruit roll up with anyone.
and then you
I-
stuff it in your
no,
mouth.
me
My
neither.
fruit roll up, yeah.
No.
you
I
just
did
Or
share
fruit
my
by the
shark,
foot.
shark bites. Fruit by the foot.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. I loved fruit by the foot too. But that was more like, yeah, you just put it in your mouth and you just keep going. Just keep going.
Guys, it's amazing to me that when we talk about these like snacks and stuff, it is a never ending well. In
That we're
my
alive.
mind. Yeah, it's a wonder that we're still alive, but it's like a never ending list of these just, snacks that I would still like try, and snacks that I just crushed as a kid, but like there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like never ending. There's so many. Like we could sit
And
here and do the like.
all of
oh,
us
and
here
do you
had
remember-
Gushers, right?
Oh yeah.
Gushers
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah. It was
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was like
juice-filled fruit snack.
Mm.
Yum.
Fruit by the foot was the best. I still stand by that.
yeah. I mean,
I always wanted the
best
multicolored-
trash food in the world.
the best trash food. Multicolored fruit roll-ups were
Yep.
my jam.
Ooh, so good.
I was just thinking about, speaking of multicolor.
Katie has closed her eyes and gone to a place in the
She
past.
Well, I was going to destroy
Better than thinking about
her-
Lunchables.
Yeah, I was going to destroy your
Ooh.
daydream
Oh.
again and remind you guys of when they made purple ketchup for a brief moment.
Oh
And-
my god!
And
oh
green
my
ketchup,
God.
green
and green
ketchup.
and the neon green ketchup. That stuff looked like disgusting.
We are preserved from the inside out. That's all I'm saying. Like we ate.
The funny thing about like the purple and green ketchup and stuff is they were literally like, let's make ketchup fun for kids. Like, motherfucker, kids love ketchup. That's all I'm talking about.
Fun.
They're like, we need
You
to
don't
make-
need to change anything.
We need to
That
really
was
just make
also-
ketchup accessible for children. Like, what are you talking about?
I think that was the same year they made purple sunscreen too. So
Yeah.
it was just,
Oh,
You get
yeah.
that purple stripe.
Yeah, and then you'd put your sunscreen on and you'd look like a one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater.
yeah.
Is that the song you would sing? Of course.
One-eyed,
Purple people eater. Yeah.
It turned you purple, and I'm like, this doesn't even rub in.
Yeah, but the purple
It was
blocks the
aesthetics.
sun.
It was just vibes.
Because we all know with science, purple blocks sun.
Yeah, it keeps out the blue light.
That's
So
right.
does that?
We
do you
didn't
think
have blue light then.
colored sunscreen will come back?
Dude, are you telling me? Hang on. Did you not grow up with blue blockers?
Blue blockers.
Oh
Sell
yeah,
some
I
blue
think
blockers.
probably
Yeah.
my grandma had a pair of those. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's grandma had a pair of those. They bought off the television.
still does.
Yeah,
No blue has gotten in since '78.
that's right.
Yeah.
For a limited time only. Get it now for $29.99. The low price is limited.
Aaron, this was a great question. I think we had a lot of great answers. The takeaway here is that we're all full of trash from our childhood, and Lunchables are gross.
We are
Please sponsor
trash.
us.
Sponsor us. If anybody out there has some like childhood snacks that we've missed, I feel like we've mentioned childhood snacks a handful of times on this podcast, but like if you got childhood snacks that we have totally missed, call us or text us 855-700-BIRD BIRD. I'm not going to tell you the number. Kelsey will
Figure
put it in
it
the
out.
captions. Yeah, figure it out.
And
Daniel,
if you can't figure it out from there, I'm so sorry.
So sorry. Well, anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for playing. Lunchables are gross. Everybody, don't
Thanks for
forget.
playing Lunchables are gross.
Don't forget to hug your dogs, hug your cats. Stay spicy out there, y'all. Have a great day. Bye bye.